earlier today, we had the wonderful, wonderful opportunity of being on Tales of Valhalla's reaction stream to Renegade Con, where they released Wave 2 of Heroscape. And we've kind of done a very quick, cursory look over all of the figures, everything that's being released, and here are all of our really quick initial thoughts on stuff. First up, what all was in the wave? There was 2 army expansions and 2 terrain packs, which we'll get into. The first army expansion was a Kyrie army expansion. 5 new Kyrie warriors. Adam, you want to talk about the first one?
Yeah, first off, we had Zyamara, which Zyamara had the amulet of Pivotar. And so basically, when a Kyrie you control, who belongs to Ular, within 6 clear spaces of Zyamara, the Kyrie warrior receives 1 or more wounds. You may roll the 20-sided die. If you roll an 8 through 16, ignore all but 1 wound just received. If you roll a 17 or higher, ignore all wounds just received. Amulet of Pivotar does not affect Zyamara. What does this actually help?
Currently, as of right now, there are very few, to my understanding, Ular Kyrie. We would currently have Atlaga, the Protectors of Ular, I think that's their name, correct me if I'm wrong, and then one other Kyrie that is in this set that we'll get to called Milky. So this ability only works for those 3 things. So that would be pretty useful in helping them, but in terms of like the rest of an army, she's pretty okay. She has an attack of 3 and a defense of 3, which is fine. It's nice. It's nice that, we're kind of making Kyrie more like battle warriors instead of just support figures. For me, she's nice. She's cool. I'm not in love with her. I'm not like dying to play with her. But she seems fun.
But overall, she feels a little average.
Yep.
All right. Do you want to talk about Kilkorax?
Absolutely. Kilkorax, the Kyrie warrior, which is now our second Revna Kyrie, which is really exciting. She has what's called Witchcraft Telekinesis. After moving and before attacking, she has the ability to pool a figure adjacent to her. Up to 2 small or medium figures adjacent to her. If it's a squad, she only has to roll an 8 on the d20, or a squad figure. If it's a hero figure, she has to roll a 17 on a d20. And she gets to pool up to 2 next to her, and they have to be on the same level as her. She pulls them adjacent. And then she has a 4 attack, which is pretty good. You pull something into you, and you get the ability to attack. What I think is really interesting. So Witchcraft Telekinesis only works on enemy figures. That being said, if you have another member of your army that has 2 different figures, small and medium figures on them, and you need to kind of get them out of that situation, she could be able to pull those 2 enemy figures away from your other figure. Now, they would not be receiving any leaving engagement attacks, but now that other member of the army is free and has the ability to move elsewhere and reposition themselves, which I think is a very, very fun and interesting mechanic.
We know the mechanics of kind of Cyberclaw, right? So I don't think it's only enemy units, right? So what happens if you move a Gladiatron? Kilkorax pulls a Gladiatron. Does that kind of keep Kilkorax from being able to move?
Well,
but freeing your other units?
Yeah.
Taking one for the team?
I would definitely think so, because now she is adjacent. She has moved adjacent. She hasn't moved, but she has now been put adjacent to Gladiatron. It's kind of like in the game that we had recently, where you used the glyph of Erland to summon a Gladiatron next to you, and now you couldn't move anymore.
Yep.
To me, it is the exact same thing.
So, there's some interesting combinations in this set that are going to bring up some interesting questions. I think that segues well into Glenerva, which Glenerva has a very interesting effect.
Hanwi's Darkness, and this is a bit of a doozy, so bear with me. I'm going to read the actual wording straight off the card. When you reveal an order marker, you may also reveal the X order marker on Glenerva to activate Hanwi's Darkness. Until you next reveal an order marker, Glynerva and all small, medium, and large figures within 5 spaces of her cannot target or be targeted by non-adjacent figures with a normal or special attack. The interesting thing to me about this is the wording of it, is that all it says is that you cannot target nor be targeted. To me, it sounds very similar to Nikita's smoke powder. Smoke bomb? I'm gonna call it whatever I want. But the wording on it very specifically says has no visible targets. It cannot be seen anymore. This one just says it can't target or be targeted. So if you take something like Mimring with the fire line special attack, it is just a shoot down the line. If you're in line of fire, you get hit. Now it does say sight spaces, but the Hanwi's Darkness does not say that they can't be seen, just that they can't be targeted, and that ability is not targeting it. I would like to hear what eventually the official ruling on that's going to be, but that was my very first initial thought. What's also interesting is that you can't target. So if you have Severus within 5 spaces of Glynerva, and she does that, he can no longer shoot at things that are outside of that 5. Would it be outside of that 5 spaces or just in general?
I don't think non-adjacent. You cannot target
even
things.
If they're within the darkness.
Yeah, so...
Okay. So he just can't shoot things that aren't adjacent to him.
If you're adjacent, yeah, that's fine. But you can't target anything at range.
This is a very, very interesting thing. And something that Adam pointed out to me earlier that I thought was pretty interesting is the usability of this. So it says that you reveal one order marker, and then you reveal the X on Glynerva. So say you have number 3 on something else, you put it down, you reveal your X on Glynerva, and then, you do your turn, the round ends, everybody sets stuff up, you lose initiative, and you go last out of 3 or 4 people. You haven't revealed an order marker, so are you still in darkness? Which, the way I read it, I would say yes. Again, looking forward to seeing what the official thoughts and rulings are going to be on it. My initial thoughts say yes.
And even if you're in a 2-player game, right, you're you can hedge your bet against losing initiative, right? So that even if you lose initiative, you'll still what's the negative of those units being hidden? There's not really one. You don't really lose out on anything for those units being hidden. And if you do go first and win initiative, well, then you're going first, and you might have an advantage in that way. It seems like a good way to hedge your bets in initiative, at least here starting out, just in these first impressions.
So in addition to Hanwi's Darkness, Glynerva also has Concealment 17, and I'm going to read this straight off the card again, that way I'm not missing anything. If Glynerva is targeted and receives 1 or more wounds from an attacking figure who is not adjacent, you must roll the 20-sided die. Count the minimum number of spaces between the attacker and Glynerva. Add this number to your die roll. If you roll a 17 or higher, ignore any wounds Glynerva just received. So, Okay. So let's, break this down, simply for me to understand. I'm going to use Severus because he's a really, really easy one to use. Severus is 7 spaces away from Glynerva. He shoots, she takes wounds, she rolls the die, gets 10. They are 7 spaces away in the shortest path possible. So she would add those 7 spaces to that 10, giving her a 17. And now she would not take any wounds. What is interesting to me is that, again, very, very, very specific wording, is targeted. Which means things like a grenade, AoEs, a splash, if she is not the one being targeted, if she is just next to the figure that's being targeted, she does not get to activate this ability, is how it is sounding to me.
Maybe Cleave will be more. Does Cleave target both?
Cleave is not non-adjacent.
Not non-adjacent. Oh, that's fair.
Cleave is adjacent here.
That is fair.
But like, someone has a missile, I think.
Yeah.
Is it Deathwalker?
It's Deathwalker has his
a missile
explosion attack.
And then you've got Airborne Elite with their grenade, which does interesting things to think about. Again, I could be reading these wrong. Look forward to seeing what the actual official ruling is on things. I'm just gonna go ahead and hedge my bets on that I'm being dumb before somebody tells me I'm being dumb.
I wonder what the highest amount of you can get bonus on that is. I think in my mind I'm thinking a 14. I think if you have Deadeye Dan with Kelda, you can get 14 range.
Kelda?
Is it not Kelda? What is the range enhancement?
The glyph?
Yeah.
It's Ivor.
But yeah, with Deadeye Dan and who I think has the highest range.
Of 10. Again, could be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you're correct.
And then with Ivor, we could have a 14, which would basically make that you would need a
3 or higher.
3 or higher.
But it would be my luck to still roll a 1 with that exact situation. Go me.
Yeah. All right. So now we're hearkening back to the first Kyrie, Ziamara, and we have Milky, which apparently I say wrong.
Milky.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not. Milky is a Kyrie that follows Ular, so she would fall under Ziamara, whatever, under her amulet. But, so Milky has double attack. To me, the wording on double attack is very strange. Once per turn, after attacking with Milky, she may make 1 additional normal attack. I would also say that it does not appear that she has a special attack, and that is worded in a very, very specific way that to me either means they think that we're all really stupid, or there's other things that possibly could be coming that could interact with that. I'm very, very interested to see.
Yeah, because double attack is not a new thing. A lot of characters just use Severus's template, like this character can attack 1 more time. So why is this double attack worded differently is the big question that I have. Like, the only thing that I can really think about is maybe there's something that you can activate more than once on a turn, which would then mean that this character would not get 4 attacks, but rather would only get 3. So, something to keep in mind.
And in addition to her double attack, she has the Spear of Sankari. When Milky destroys a figure with a normal attack, and again, she doesn't have special attacks, which I wonder if they're just putting normal attack on there just to use the word normal attack. You may choose a small or medium friendly figure within 4 clear sight spaces of Milky. Remove a wound marker from the chosen figure. Milky cannot heal herself, and it cannot be used when destroying a destructible object. It's basically, to me, like Life Drain for friends. That one to me is pretty self-explanatory. It is an interesting ability. Kind of looking forward to it. That one looks interesting and has a lot of use cases, and I'm excited about it.
You know who I'm excited for?
Who, Adam? Who are you excited for?
Queen Kyrion, Vidar's first Valkyrie, which I'm personally a big fan of Vidar. I think that their character design is kind of fun, technology, and, you know, shooty guns.
Shooty guns? Are there non-shooty guns?
No. Stealth flying, but only a move of 4, so not a whole lot of speed there, which might work well with Atlaga. Maybe Atlaga will see more use in these Kyrie armies
Probably.
because of this low move number.
She also, in addition to stealth flying, has what is called Heart Finder Sphere 12. That sounds brutal. Before attacking with Queen Kyrion, you may roll a 20-sided die. If you roll a 12 or higher, a figure attacked by Queen Kyrion, yep, said it different that time, may roll no more than 1 die for defense. Now, this isn't exactly a new ability. James Murphy, to my understanding, does something rather similar. But to me, what makes her more interesting with having that ability is stealth flying, because now she can get away and get to places a little bit easier than his move of 5, I believe.
Where would this really do well? So, things that roll a lot of defense, like Deathwalkers or the minions of Utgar, would definitely be kind of annihilated by her, especially since she has an attack of 4.
Correct.
Also, Samurai now lose basically all of their counter-strike ability. You can stealthily fly up behind them, murder them, and go on your merry way to either murder more of them or basically hide behind some runs.
James Murphy has a very, very similar ability, but I think giving that ability to a character with stealth flying, even if she's on the slower side of things, is going to be a little bit more useful for her than it is for him, if that makes sense. After the Kyrie army box, I think that's what they called it. Up next we have I'm going to let you read that, because that's out of my realm of enunciation.
We have Revna's Rebuke, Iron Lich Visero, and the Wraith Riders Army Expansion.
Let's go ahead and start with the Wraith Riders, which I have lovingly named the Roly Boys, and that's their name now till the end of time. I don't make the rules. So Adam, tell me a little bit about the Roly Boys.
The Necrotac Wraith Riders have 2 special abilities. It's Chain Grab 9. After moving and before attacking with the Necrotac Wraith Riders, one at a time, each Wraith Rider may choose an enemy, small or medium figure, within 3 clear sight spaces, whose level is no more than 11 levels above the Wraith Rider's level, or 6 levels below that Wraith Rider's level. Roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 9 or higher, place the chosen figure on an empty same level space adjacent to that Wraith Rider. Figures moved by chain grab do not take leaving engagement attacks. A figure can only be moved by chain grab once each turn. They also have rolling movement, which means a Necrotac Wraith Rider cannot move onto a space more than 2 levels above its level, which basically means, yeah, it's rolling. It can't do stairs. Well, it can, but not tall stairs. But this kind of brings an interesting scenario where you can actually build maps where your characters can't get out easily. Like, that scenario always existed, but building a kind of enclosed 4 or 5 tall hole or pit was a lot harder to do than something that's 3 levels high all around. So you could get into a scenario where, especially with all these like abilities that move characters other places, where you can basically throw these guys into holes and walk away from them, and they do have that chain grab that allows them to at least pull people to them. But as long as you have a large ranged unit, you can just pink at them for nothing if they're in that stuck state. So it's a little interesting that there's no rule set to kind of offset that, but they're also a 2-life squad, which means with the polar bears, right?
Frostclaw Paladins.
Frostclaw Paladins.
Yeah, the polar bears.
Also, when we were discussing this card, we kind of thought of some interesting things that it could work with, and we came up with Brunak, which could pick up these little roly boys and ferry them to height, which would be kind of funny. It'd be slow. Probably wouldn't be viable, but Yeah.
So our last figure from this box is probably, no, not probably, it is the largest character of this entire wave. I don't want to say its name. Adam.
Iron Lich Visero.
I'm proud of you.
He has Dismissive Strider, which means that Iron Lich Visero can move through small and medium figures, does not take leaving engagement attacks from small and medium figures, and can target and attack non-adjacent figures while only engaged with small and medium figures. He also has File Injection. Begin the game with 3 yellow surge markers on this army card, once per turn, before moving another Ice and Egg figure within 5 clear sight spaces of Visero. You may remove a surge marker from this card and add 2 to that figure's move and attack values until the end of the turn. He also has Ironclad Puppeteer. After revealing an order marker on Visero and taking a turn with Visero, you may take a turn with another unique Ice and Egg hero or squad you control.
So currently, the only other Ice and X in the game are the Roly Boys, but there will more be coming. What also is of note and super fun and interesting is that he is a warlord. We all love the Romans and the Roman legionnaires and their warlord bonding, which is what makes the wording on the Ironclad Puppeteer that much more interesting. Adam, first, I'd like you to read the Roman legionnaires.
Okay, on the Roman legionnaires, we have warlord bonding. Before taking a turn with Roman legionnaires, you may first take a turn with any warlord you control.
Warlord bonding. You reveal the order marker on the legionaries, and they're able to take a turn with Visero. Now, the wording in Ironclad Puppeteer is, again, very specific, as most things are in this wonderful, wonderful game. After revealing an order marker on Visero and taking a turn with Visero, you can, bond with Visero from the Legionaries, but if you take a turn with him through their bonding ability, you cannot use the Ironclad Puppeteer because you did not reveal an order marker on it. I feel like they knew all of us as people and as players and knows that we will find loopholes in everything. Anything and everything, or as said earlier by me trying to find a loophole through the darkness. So it's interesting and nice to see like the super, super, super specific wording. That way you can't just chain and chain and chain and chain your turns.
Don't bring Dominion into this.
I will bring Dominion into this. Is there anything else that really stood out to you as interesting with Visero?
What was interesting about Visero, and I think the coolest thing for me, is his appearance and looks. And also, I really look forward to the his vial injection. However, I think they did a really good job of limiting that kind of power with those tokens that get you. So I think it's a good ability. It'll be fun for the 3 times you're allowed to do it. And it makes him a more high value target at the beginning of the game rather than like a constant threat. So I think that he becomes weaker without that utility throughout a game, but we'll really see that when people start to really play with these characters. All right, so now we're going to talk about probably one of our favorite things in this world, terrain.
So, terrain. We all have it, we all love it. All of it is old. So very old. I think we broke, another water tile?
Yeah.
This past weekend? And I think another hex. It's all getting very old, very crackly. So, with this release, in addition to the 2 army expansions, they are also releasing 2 terrain expansions. The Lands of Valhalla and the Waters of Valhalla. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't look up the exact numbers of what is in all of these boxes. I took cliff notes. So, the Lands of Valhalla have 24 hexes on your stone, grass, and sand now. And, the rest of the land pieces, but we now have 24 hex sand, which, you know, I feel like a lot of us have been asking for a while, so that's really, really exciting. That's cool. Do you have anything else to say about it?
So the lands of Valhalla, I believe when you really get down to it, it has it touts that it has over 250 hexes things, and it's $70, right? So you're getting about 28 cents a hex that you're paying for, which is actually pretty good, right? Because grass, the last time I was looking at it, was about 25 cents a tile. And you're getting sand, grass, rock for 28 cents, and it's brand new. So it probably has a little bit more of a shelf life than those other things. Pretty much what they did with the trees is they looked at the market and was like, this is what the fair market value is. We can probably produce it for, you know, less and sell it brand new.
Okay, now moving on to probably my favorite part of this expansion, Onto the Waters of Valhalla. It is a terrain expansion pack that is just water and the wellspring water tiles, but what is most important is, yes, sparkly water tiles. But they have now introduced 3 hex water tiles, which I have been wanting something similar to for years and years and years and years, so now I don't have to just singly place all of my water tiles. And they're sparkly, so goodbye elitism. Goodbye Heroscape water elitism. We can all be cool kids now.
Until they come up with the second edition and get rid of it.
I will have it, and that's all that matters.
The one thing that I kind of saw when looking through the thing, and somebody brought this up in the comments on the live stream, is that the 3 water tiles didn't appear to have lines describing like where the tiles would have been meeting up if they were single tiles, like your normal terrain. And I think that's a fair use, or a fair point of, you know, maybe that would be kind of confusing. But I was thinking about it more, and how often do people actually go into the water? It's like, maybe with more and larger water, more people will be swimming in Heroscape, but in my experience, water is to be avoided at all costs.
But it's sparkly, Adam.
It's sparkly now, but nobody goes into water. It's just a bad move.
I go into the sparkly water. You found my weakness.
So that is what Renegade has shown us today and released. We're super excited and happy that things are progressing and coming out. And also it's good to hear that they have plans well into 2025 and 2026. So here is to more Heroscape.
What I do want to say is one of the other things that I got really excited about on the stream is not only the life-sized Raylan and Leviatak that's going to be at Gen Con. I will take all of the photos with them. But also the 20th anniversary t-shirt. I thought it was going to be something goofy, but I'm actually kind of really, really excited about the design that's on it. That's it. I get excited over silly things. Cool t-shirts and sparkly water tiles. That's all I need. They also announced that Wave 3 will be coming in October, which is when Wave 2 releases. I did hear somebody say, and I'm going to go ahead and parrot this, right now they are just kind of releasing the Vanguard edition as it was, which is why they're probably able to have these, you know, just pretty decently quick releases. I am worried that once the Vanguard dries up and runs out, it's that these releases are going to start being far and few between. Heroscape already has a history of similar events to happening. You know, early on it was releasing super often, and then it just stopped. So I'm hopeful and looking forward to see what comes next and where things go. I'm just hoping that we don't get a lot, and then like nothing for 2 years like it's Bridgerton. I don't even watch that. You're just people complaining about it. But other than that, I am very excited. I love that this game is back. One of my favorite games, if not my favorite games in my entire life, the entire world. And I'm very excited to see that it's back. And it's back with exciting things. Things that I actually want to have in my set and in my armies. Not just things that are, hey, look, this is a thing. It is Heroscape, have it. No, it is things that I want to play with and I want to have in my army. And that excites me more than anything. Oh, should I be controversial?
Sure.
And I'm gonna say something that might upset some people. I have heard a little bit of people being a little upset about this, but I do enjoy that everything is uniques. All of the squads, all of the armies, or all of the figures, everything being uniques. I hate common squads. Is hate a strong word? I strongly dislike common squads. I'm gonna get probably flack for that. But so, everything being unique, I am a fan of. I will stop, because once you get me started, I won't stop. But yeah, I am very excited and looking forward to what else Renegade has coming for us. This was just kind of our first initial look through of things. We might go back and do more in-depth analysis of figures and things and use cases and scenarios. Maybe look more into some of those questions that we had about, again, the loopholes that we all love finding. But I think this is it for now. Adam?
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.
Let us know what your thoughts are on the release and what you're most excited for.